Hello, Mr. Gurr here. I'm experimenting with a different graphic look for now, as you can see, since my camera is fucked and I don't have the funds to get it replaced. So anyway, on with the show.
Militant men in peaceful times attack themselves. Militant men in peaceful times attack themselves.
Dear Antifa pussies, and all the cunts that support such a vile group. I've seen you for what you really are for years now. I'm sure that when you first formed, you had the best intentions. But like all collective ideologies, shit went sour, to put it mildly. Just like Hitler probably had the best intentions to, dare I say it, make Germany great again. Back then, the country was on its knees after losing the First World War. But to create a hero, there must always be a villain, and Hitler chose the Jews to be Germany's new villain. And obviously we know how that turned out in the end. Fast forward to the current year, and I see the hard left doing exactly the same thing. You have created a villain to fight against where there really isn't one. Now, I would agree that Nazism is bad. That's universally a given. Even the idiotic racial purists on both sides can agree that exterminating people with different religions and different skin colours to themselves is going too far. That's why Nazis don't exist anymore. It died with the Nazi Party in the 1940s. So, the first time I noticed the Antifa-related groups, I was 100% behind you. Back then it was the Anti-Nazi League and Unite Against Fascism. I saw these groups as the ones that stood up against and protested against the unjust, the racists of the times. But it was sometime between 2004 and 2007 when I started to question the validity of these so-called anti-fascist groups. I can't remember which one it was at the time, but I was on one of their websites to see what they'd been doing to piss off the British National Party off, because they were the racists of the day. But what I read was really eye-opening, and it completely put me off these so-called anti-fascist groups. During some meeting or seminar that the BNP were hosting, the anti-fascists turn up to protest against them. That's more than fine. But what I found to be a low blow was that they were using megaphones and bullhorns to drown out the speeches by the BNP leader, making it impossible for anyone to hear him. That didn't sit well with me because, well, they'd literally removed his right to free speech. And that's something I could never get behind, no matter what he was saying. It made me wonder what on earth the BNP could have said that was both dangerously racist yet couldn't be argued against and easily debunked. I mean, how difficult can it possibly be to make a valid argument against Nazism? It's fucking piss easy! So that's when I realised that Unite Against Fascism, the Anti-Nazi League and now Antifa don't care about making the world a better place using reasonable discourse, because that takes a kind of intelligence that you people don't possess. You see yourselves as masked heroes clad in black, like some social justice Batman or Captain America saving the world from Nazis. However, you so desperately need to find a physical boogeyman to vent your frustrations onto. And what do you do if you can't find Nazis? You create one. You label anyone that doesn't share your so-called progressive ideologies as a Nazi or a fascist, or any other label that shows someone as some kind of oppressive force for you to fight against. For instance, if someone says, I disagree with modern fourth-wave feminism, misogynist, I think there are only two genders, transphobe, I believe the burqa and hijab are a form of oppression against women, Islamophobe, statistically speaking, blacks commit more violent crimes, racist. Generally being a straight, white, cis male is classed as both the privileged demographic plus the only demographic you can openly be prejudiced against without receiving widespread criticism. Although that's slowly changing. I'm talking to you, BuzzFeed, MTV, Netflix. But to top it all off, someone who says, I voted for Trump, means you're a white nationalist, racist, homophobic Nazi. Simply put, anyone who disagrees with you. The only things you can't accuse the right of is being baby killers and paedophiles, because they're protected classes in the SJW left, but I digress. So now, being just one of those dirty words means you're fair game to be sucker punched. We now live in a world where even if someone shows up to see a presentation or speech regarding a topic that you people claim unfit to be discussed, it's perfectly acceptable to pepper spray them. No matter how you try to justify your actions, speech is not violence, no matter how hateful you claim said speech to be. And the massive majority of these speakers you loathe so much, you'd know fuck all about. Otherwise, you'd at least be able to find some quotes by them that back your claims up that they're racist, white supremacists and whatever. But you can't. I have not seen a single protester at a Milo Yiannopoulos event manage to present any evidence of why he's such a bad man. But still, that doesn't matter to you. You get yourselves all riled up, get your mask on, thinking it's justified like a hero vigilante. But in reality, it's because you're a fucking cowardly pussy. And then you go looking for Nazis to beat up. Because it's so easy when you have big numbers on your side. It's so easy to feel like the big man when you're hitting a girl with a flagpole or pepper spray her in the face, isn't it? It's so easy to chase down and beat up a couple of unarmed guys when you're 100 strong, isn't it? You act with so much impunity because you know the left-wing media is on your side. You know full well that if someone retaliates, the mainstream media will cut the footage to make it look like you're the innocent victim of an unprovoked attack. But the mainstream media is losing credibility every day. More and more people look to alternative news outlets that usually have direct links to the source footage showing the absolute truth. So where does all this end? People are already being hospitalised on both sides. But if you Antifa fucks carry on the way you are, it won't end well. I'm not a violent man. I'm not even going to claim to be some martial arts expert like so many other fucking idiots on the internet. But if I'm put in a position where it's fight or flight, I'm taking down as many of you cunts with me. I would even liken you lot to football hooligans who just want to have a mass brawl with any other group, just because they're from another country, or even town, or even the same fucking town sometimes. However, they still get a lot more respect from me than you ever will, because unlike yourselves, they're not scared of an even fight, and I've never once seen one of them hit a woman. Because let's face it, if you didn't outnumber your political opponents by at least 10 to 1, there's no way you'd even dare to instigate a fight. But that's all we are, your political opponents. We have different opinions to you. We have different values to you. And now you've accepted the fact that you've lost the argument, otherwise you wouldn't have thrown the first punch. So just remember one thing. The next time you think it's okay to label someone you might disagree with as a Nazi or a fascist so you can punch them, well, that's fascism 101. You are the fascists. You are the Nazis. And you run the risk of finding exactly how hard we can punch back. Because by your standards, it's perfectly fine to punch you lot too.